Mr. Secretary, I appreciate the time that you have given to the committee, how you have worked to respond to not only very local interests, whether it's what I raised with our 40-mile placer miners or Senator Gardner's news that he received that I think it was Amble County is going to have a good day today, but also to the broader picture of reorganization that you are proposing within the department, the impacts there on the respective regions, how we ensure that we do right by our national parks with a focus on the maintenance and the backlog. Because this is the first FY19 budget hearing that I have participated in, and it's going to be a long couple months between my role on this committee and as an appropriator. But at every committee, as long as I can remember, when we have budget requests that come before us, I have to ask the question, and I will ask the question of you, in terms of what, when you look at your budget for Department of Interior, where do you see this administration's priority and focus on the Arctic and Arctic-related activity? Because I'm sitting here with my co-chair of the Arctic Caucus, Senator King, and I think we have worked hard and will continue to work hard to raise the interest, the awareness, and the priority of not only this administration, but administrations that have preceded you in focusing on the Arctic as a place of considerable opportunity, but also challenges, as we recognize that we have much that is lacking by way of infrastructure and how we are able to take full opportunity of a changing and an evolving Arctic. So that's a long lead up for you, but I put it out there to you and everybody else who's going to come before any of the committees that I sit on, that we're going to be continuing to ask about the administration's Arctic priorities to ensure that this does continue to be viewed as an area of focus, not only from the budget perspective, but in terms of national priorities.
Well, I would think three things. One is the Arctic is of national security interest, and it is an imperative. Secondly, energy dominance is not possible unless Alaska's resources come to bear. Thirdly is the Alaskan natives. I think we need to do better being partners, particularly with our wildlife management. I don't, the folks I've met up there about whether it's whaling or seals or walruses, no one knows better how to manage those species than our native Alaskans. And so I think there's a lot of room of looking at ways we can be better partners, co-managing areas. Typically, they're so much more knowledgeable than we are at doing it. So I think the Arctic area, again, from national security, from oil and gas production, as you know, there's an enormous amount of gas on the North Shore. And we've talked about different approaches on how to recover that gas. And overall, I think liquid natural gas is probably our bridge fuel. Some would argue with that. That's my gut feeling on it. But to look at how to bring our natural gas resources to bear, certainly you have to talk about Alaska on that. So I'm very bullish on the Arctic. I don't think there's ever been an interior that has focused more on the state of Alaska, certainly in my memory with it. A lot of my staff, as you know, We spend a lot of time in Alaska for a number of reasons that I've outlined. So I think the relationship between Interior and this committee on Alaska will only grow.
Well, I appreciate that. And you mentioned that you feel that this administration has focused more attention on Alaska. We have received a lot of attention in previous administrations, but most of the attention has been on how we can basically lock up more of Alaska rather than allow the people to work to not only access our resources, but to do so in a balance with a pretty special environment, pretty special opportunities that we have up there. So we appreciate you working with us to allow us to achieve that level of independence that any state would want, an independence to be able to provide for your people and take care of your land. We feel like we do a pretty good job. I thank you for your focus on the opportunities that we have up there, and with particular recognizing the great benefit, the great value that our indigenous peoples can provide, whether it is in operations of co-management or just consultation, true consultation. And we haven't really had much discussion here today in this committee about your role within Interior with regards to the various agencies that have oversight, whether it is through BIA, particularly through BIA. We need to get that position filled, and we are working with you, and we are looking forward to seeing that Assistant Secretary advance quickly. You have a big job in front of you. We've moved several of the men and women that you need to help run the department, and several of them, unfortunately, have been held through a process that is frustrating on all ends. My goal is to make sure that you have the team in place that you need to do not only execution of this budget that is being laid down, but really to focus on the public assets, the public resources that you are charged with, as well as the people, our Native people. So it's a big job. We appreciate the job that you are doing, and I particularly appreciate the positive relationship that you have built, and the trust that you are working to restore with the people of Alaska. It is appreciated, it's noticed, and we'll welcome you back anytime. With that, the committee stands adjourned.